Hey, so this is a voiceover. The camera barely picked up any audio, so I'm just doing it after the fact now. This is actually the second time I'm doing this. I don't know how to use iMovie, but I got it now. We should be getting some audio here. So what I just took off was the cover for the feeder. There's basically an empty spot there. That white bar that you see on top, that's different from the other bars. It's a cul de false wall, that's why there's a little F written on it. And it's a wall that goes all the way down. The other bars are for building comb on. This is just straight up a wall to change the size of the hive, basically. That extra area over there, you saw me take a feeder out, and that's just so they have quick access to sugar while they're still growing. It's still early on in the season. That smoker is full of these pellets. It's basically like pine straw pellets. They burn slowly, make a lot of smoke. And I'm also not used to filming at this angle or anything, so a lot of this is going to be out of frame as I'm showing it. But right there, that's old comb. That's comb that came with the hive itself from last year's bees. But they took right to it. They cleaned it out, and they're working on it now. There's not a ton of activity in that one. It is actually pretty heavy. It's I believe they've been storing their sugar water that they've been taking from the feeders and putting it in there. I don't think it's actually nectar, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. This next bar, the lighter comb right there, that's a good example of new wax. That's what they've built this year. You'll see a lot of bars like this where there's some really dark wax up top, then some new at the bottom. That's just what was left in the hive for me, and they're taking over it now. And that smoke is super safe for bees, by the way. It just makes them think there may be a fire nearby, so they start just eating up honey and calming down. And this is one of the more impressive new pieces of wax. Pretty much everything on here is that light color, which is new. I don't know if they're really storing anything in it. I think there's some nectar slash sugar water in that one. So you see me having a little bit of trouble on this one. I believe it's this one. Yeah, and I go grab the knife. What basically happens is that bees will um, start taking the comb and building it onto the walls there. It's not really necessary. There's enough surface area on the top bar to keep it there, but especially if they plan on storing honey in it, they may start doing that. This one's full of bees. You can see a ton of capped honey up top. And I believe, I can't really see it at the moment through the preview screen here, but I think there's some capped, yeah, there's some capped brood on there as well. It's more orange color for the brood, and the white caps are all honey. It could be capped sugar water, but I'm just going to keep calling it honey. Once again, cutting out the sides where they built the wax onto the side of the hive itself. Ideally, they just build on bars, but that doesn't always happen. You can see some more capped honey at top. And I believe there's some brood on this one as well. Yeah, you can see those brood caps down there. Those little orange caps. Each one of those has a bee inside. Bees take about 11 days from the laying of the egg to coming out as a bee, and then they're just ready to go. There's a larval stage in between where they're just hanging out in the comb. And I think that's going to be the first round of new bees. It took a few days for the queen to get out of her cage, and then after that she immediately started laying eggs, so that would mean probably soon they'll start popping out. So I'm also, you can't really just eyeball it, but I have been looking out for, before I get into that, this is all new wax too. They really got to work on this one. Very nice. They haven't done too much to it yet. Maybe there could be eggs in there. I don't know. I didn't really see. One thing I was also looking for, as I was mentioning, is mites. You can't really eyeball it, but you'll see little red dots. Every hive has mites. It could be just a few. It could be a ton. I didn't see any immediately. They usually come in later in the summer. in Georgia at least. From what I understand, I could be wrong on that. But if you start seeing bees with weird crumpled leaves, that's for mites. And there's a bunch of brood on this one. You can see all the orange caps there. But I'll do a video later on when I do a real test for mites. I'm looking for the queen. I don't see it on this one. And that is also old wax. You can tell from how dark it is. It gets really dark when they hatch brood in it. And just all the walking around, they bring in dirt, pollen, propolis bits, all sorts of stuff. I dropped a knife sheath in there. Didn't seem to bug the bees, thankfully. And that's mostly new comb, all that light comb there. So they're really building up. I think once they fill up everything here, I'll be able to just put in a new bar, and they'll all start filling it up. So that's really good progress they're making. That's generally why you want to give them sugar to begin with. It really gives them all the energy they need to make all that wax. There's quite a bit of capped honey on this one, which is nice to see. And there's the queen. You can see her. She's a little bit bigger, a little bit oranger than the other ones, at least in this video. But she has a big butt and just goes around dropping eggs. That's her job. Queens live up to a few years, so she'll be making a ton of bees. You can see in the background there's a old bird bath and a little ceramic thing there full of rocks. And that's basically to give the bees water. They're getting most of their water just from nectar and the sugar water I'm giving them. But it's definitely good to have in Georgia. It gets hot, they need water. They also use water to cool down the hive just by changing the moisture content of the air and moving air in and out. They sort of make a air funnel throughout the hive. And these later ones they haven't really gotten to yet. I believe that was the bar that I had the queen's cage hanging from. And they didn't build on that. They built on the rest of the hive. And here I am, that's propolis. That's a product the bees make. It's basically antibacterial glue. I believe it comes from plant sap. They sort of chew it up and spit it out into a new product. Not a lot of wax on that one either. But I do continue to cut down some wax that they just sort of built randomly along the hive. You'll see little bits of comb I pull out. There wasn't a whole lot though. And they've been doing a fantastic job. All the bars, all the honeycomb is very straight on the bars, which is good. Spent a long time leveling that hive to make sure, so it definitely helps out. And nothing exciting really from here on out. I believe I grab the sugar water, refill their feeders, and close up the hive, but that's about it. Thank you for watching.